Chutti Mithran. In today's chess video, I'm going to show you an interesting chess game that was played by Levon Aronian versus Vishy Anand in the 2013 Wijk tournament. Aronian opens the game with the move pawn to d4, the queen's pawn opening is on the board, pawn to d5, black does the same, and c4, attacking this d5 pawn, pawn to c6, defending it, and knight to f3, simply developing the bishop, knight to f6, knight to c3 and pawn to e6. Note that you cannot play bishop to f5 because after c captures and c captures d5, queen to b3, white is exerting a lot of pressure among this b7 pawn. So after the move knight to c3, black plays the most accurate choice, e6 and now e3. Knight bd7, bishop to d3, and in this position, black plays a very important move which is d capture c4. And this is a notable tempi move in the queen's gambit, especially when you're playing from the black pieces. The bishop has come out of its cage and he has developed to d3. After we play the move d capture c4, white has to waste another tempo by playing bishop captures c4. And to top all of that, it is now black's move to play. So we have literally gained two extra moves. After the move bishop captures c4, black simply played b5, once again attacking this bishop and bishop to d3, retreating the bishop back, bishop to d6, castles and queen to c2. So now if the knight ever moves, bishop captures h7 might be a possibility. Bishop to b7 was played and a3. Black has some ideas of playing b4, dislodging the knight from a beautiful central square. So a3 was played, rook to c8. Now black wants to play c5 and he wants to exert some pressure along the c file. Knight to g5, and this is the most critical position of the game. There are three choices for black. If you play h6, then after knight g4, knight captures c4, knight captures c4 and bishop to b7, white can immediately play b4 and he has claimed the c5 outpost for the white knight. So this is not a good choice. And after knight g5, there is another possibility of bishop captures h2. After bishop captures h2, king captures h2, knight g4, giving a check, king to g1, black will play the move queen captures g5, but the idea is white will immediately play f3. And the idea is if you play knight captures c3, white will play queen to e2 and he will win the knight on e3. So after knight g4, white will simply play e4 and he has some ideas of playing e5. So after all this, bishop captures h2 is not a good possibility. Vishy Anand comes up with a new move which is c5 and he is simply giving up this h7 pawn. Levon Aronian asks what is your compensation and he plays knight captures h7. And after knight captures h7, many grandmasters thought that Vishy was going to play the move rook to e8 but or knight captures h7, but in this position he totally stunned the whole world by playing the move knight to g4, and this is the most crucial position of the game. If you play knight captures f8, then do you see the idea? Well, it's not that difficult. Black will immediately play bishop captures h2 and after king to h1, he will bring the queen into the game with queen to h4, and this is the most critical position. If you play knight captures d7, then black will play bishop to g1 and after king captures g1, queen to h2. So after the move knight to g4, Levon Aronian did not accept a rook on f8. And what happens after g3? Well, after g3, you can notice how this bishop has opened up. You can simply play knight captures h2 and after king captures h2, queen to h4, giving a check, king to g1, queen to h1 is a checkmate because the bishop is protecting the queen on h1. So after the move knight to g4, f4 was played, stopping this bishop's exerting influence on h2, c captures d4 and once again Vishy is giving his opponent a lot of chance. If you play knight captures f8, then black will immediately play the move. Well, he can simply play bishop captures f8 and after a captures d4, knight to f6 and he's threatening queen captures d4 and there is no way white can do anything to defend this pawn on d4. So after all this and f4 and c captures d4, white simply played e captures d4 and in this position Viswanathan once again plays the absolute best move in the position, which is bishop to c5, and is freely giving up this rook and this bishop. What happens if this rook is captured? Well, after bishop captures d4, king to h1, you play queen to h4, attacking this pawn on h2, and after h3, black will immediately play queen captures h3, and this is a checkmate because this g2 pawn is pinned from the bishop. So you can play d capture c5. Levon Aronian did not play d capture c5 because after knight capture c5, queen to e2, black has queen to d4 check, and after king to h1, knight captures d3, queen captures g4, and king captures h7. Black has the advantage in this position because his pieces are a lot much more activated than white's pieces. So after bishop c5, bishop to e2, attacking this knight on g4, and once again Vishy is not wanting a pawn with bishop captures d4. He once again sacrifices three pieces with knight d e5. And look at this position, friends. This rook is hanging, this knight is hanging, this bishop is hanging, and if this knight ever moves, this knight will hang. So almost four pieces are hanging. Let's see what happens after f captures c5. Black will play queen captures d4, giving a check, and after king to h1, queen to g1, giving a check, rook captures g1, knight to f2 is a beautiful checkmate. So if you play d captures c5, then black will play queen to d4 check irrespectively, king to h1, knight to f2, and after rook captures f2, queen captures f2, he is threatening queen captures g2 checkmate. So the only response will be to play the move knight to e4, but then queen e1 giving a check, bishop to f1, and queen captures f1 is a beautiful back rank checkmate. So this knight cannot be captured and this bishop cannot be captured. You cannot capture this rook because of queen captures d4. So considering all this, the only position which you can play is bishop captures g4. Now bishop captures d4 giving a check, and after king to h1 knight captures g4, recapturing the knight and once again renewing the threat of queen to h4, knight captures f8, and in this position Levon Aronian sets up Vishy a little trap. If you play queen to h4, you are thinking you are going to checkmate white very soon. White has this saving resource with queen to h7, and after queen captures h7, knight captures h7, black can play king captures h7, but you can see that white has a material advantage. So after this knight captures f8 move, you must prevent this queen from coming to h7. f5 was played, and now knight g6. Note that if you're greedy and you play knight captures c6, then queen to h4, attacking this h2 pawn, h3 loses to queen captures h3 checkmate once again. So after f5, knight to g6, now queen to h4 is not possible because of knight captures f4. But no worries, black played the move queen to f6 and now he's attacking this knight on g6. h3, attacking this knight on g4 but queen captures g6. If you play h captures g4, then queen to h7 is a checkmate because white cannot play to g1. After queen captures g6, there is really no good continuation for white. White tried some moves. He played queen to e2. He wants to bring the queen into the game. Queen to h5, threatening queen captures h3 checkmate. Queen to d3, and in this position, pause the video for a few minutes and try to come up with the winning continuation for black. Well, after queen to d3, this queen is the only piece defending this pawn on h3. So you try to stop even that with bishop to e3, and this is what Vishy plays, and it was in this position that Vishy's opponent Levon Aronian simply resigned the game as there was nothing else to do. After bishop to e3, the question runs into our mind, what happens if you play bishop captures h3? Then you play queen captures h3, and after king to g1, queen captures g2 is a beautiful checkmate with a bishop and a queen. So after the move bishop to e3, with threatening queen captures h3 once again. So you can play rook to f3. Maybe you are telling if you play queen takes, then I play rook takes. But now you simply play bishop takes f3, and after bishop takes f3, g takes f3, queen takes h3 is a checkmate once again. So after the move bishop to e3, there was nothing else for Aronian to play, and it was in this position that he simply resigned the game. Thank you for watching the video till the end, friends. I will be visiting you with more chess videos on opening chess traps, puzzles, chess games, analysis very soon. So subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any of my future content. Thank you and have a great day, friends.